Power struggles, drought, overpopulation. What happened to the Maya people remains a mystery, and the clues lie hidden within the forest. The Maya civilization once stretched across a vast region that today includes southern Mexico and Central America. This civilization was home to vibrant cities and thousands of people. Yet over the course of 2 centuries, major cities would empty, their magnificent temples would be abandoned, and their dazzling artworks would remain unfinished. As with its end, it has been difficult to determine exactly when Maya culture began. Many scholars believe that hunter-gatherers from South America first moved into Central America between 7000 and 2000 BCE, and that the civilization arose from their settling in the region. Around 4000 BCE, the cultivation of maize, the staple crop, expanded, allowing Maya culture to grow and spread. Interaction with the neighboring Olmec civilization is thought to have encouraged advancements in Maya architecture, leading to the construction of massive ritual complexes surrounded by cities. Among the most important urban centers were Uxmal, Palenque, Chichen Itza, Tikal, Copan, and Calakmul. The Mayas' towering pyramid temples and the large structures believed to be palaces, built during the classic period from 200 to 900 CE, were richly decorated with sacred artworks dedicated to the gods. Scientists have determined that the Maya did not rule as a unified empire. Instead, it was a shared society. Power struggles occurred between rival city-states, local rulers, ajom, or leaders. Cancun, in modern Mexico, was a prosperous Maya settlement. The region occupied a strategic position on trade routes and was politically connected to the powerful Maya city of Calakmul. Many inscriptions were found on monuments in the area, but none dated later than the year 800. Archaeological evidence suggests that around 800, the city suffered a violent attack. Members of the royal family and other nobles were killed. Their bodies, along with symbols of power and jade jewelry, were thrown into 3 makeshift burial pits. In the largest of these, archaeologists discovered 38 bodies that showed signs of brutal killing and trauma. Such violence was not unusual for the region, but this incident stands out as part of a larger pattern. During the first decade of the 9th century, a political and social crisis affected nearly all Maya cities. By the end of the Classic period, Maya sculptors had stopped carving monuments, scribes had ceased recording the deeds of rulers, and workers had halted palace and temple construction. Cities were abandoned. The process known as the Maya collapse had only just begun. The collapse spread from city to city over more than a century. It began in a region known as Petexbatun and extended across the lands around the Usumacinta River. As the cities fell like dominoes, the forest began to reclaim the lands of the Maya civilization. Plant roots and shoots curled and spread through palaces, temples, and plazas. The remnants of Maya architecture hidden deep within the forest give revealing information about the speed of the collapse. One of the last buildings constructed in Bonampak, a city in the Usumacinta region, contains vivid murals showing a victorious battle and a magnificent royal ceremony conducted in 791 by the Ajah, the ruler. Yet the artworks are not finished. On the walls remain incomplete sketches, as if the artists had simply put down their tools and left the area in the middle of their work. An equally striking example was found in Yachilan, a city near Bonampak. In the year 800, the king built a grand structure richly adorned with sculptures. Its beams, stelae, and stairways were intricately carved with royal scenes and texts. But just 8 years later, the project was abandoned. The last inscription found at the site was written in 808. In the early 9th century, architects in Aguateca, in modern Guatemala, began working on a magnificent temple. But in 810, the construction suddenly stopped, and the temple was left unfinished. Stelae prepared for carving were never decorated, Evidence also suggests that fences and defensive fortifications were being built, indicating that the people of Aguateca perceived an external threat. A few years later, the city was abandoned. Whatever affected these cities seems to have struck them quickly. The collapse of the Maya has been studied by countless scientists who developed compelling theories to solve the mystery. Many agree that there was no single cause for the collapse, but rather a complex combination of factors. There are many collapse hypotheses, most of which point to a few shared factors. One of these is that overpopulation in Maya cities strained local resources and triggered a crisis. In the early 9th century, the Maya civilization reached the peak of its demographic curve. Tikal in modern Guatemala was the most populous of all Maya cities, with around 50,000 inhabitants. Some scholars believe that even with expanded agriculture, it would have been difficult to sustain such a population. It is unclear how the population redistributed after abandoning the cities. Another strong possibility is that drought played a role in the collapse. Recent research on Central American paleoclimate shows that around the 9th century, parts of the Maya lowlands experienced prolonged water shortages, leading to crop failures and local famines. Food scarcity weakened Maya rulers' control over their regions. People may have fled in search of more fertile lands, or they may have rebelled against their leaders. Another factor that undoubtedly contributed to the collapse was armed conflict stemming from power struggles. Wars blocked roads and trade routes. As a result, goods could no longer be transported easily, leading to shortages, economic decline, and mass migrations. In the 9th century, inscriptions referring to wars between cities increased. Various carved panels depict rulers holding their enemies captive, with the names of these defeated rulers etched onto their legs and tunics. Even more mysterious is that, about a century and a half later, Maya cities in the northern regions of the Yucatan Peninsula experienced a collapse similar to the first. For instance, Uxmal became the main power center in the Puc region during the 10th century. A massive palace served both as a royal residence and as a meeting place for the Council of Nobles. There was also a ball court and a ceremonial complex known as the Nunnery Quadrangle. Reliefs, paintings, and inscriptions from this period depict warriors in full battle attire and scenes of prisoners being sacrificed. But in the 11th century, Uxmal faced a dramatic decline. Construction of many monumental works was never completed. The direct cause of this crisis appears to have been the expansion of the neighboring city of Chichen Itza. At the same time, the eastern Puc region became increasingly depopulated until it was completely abandoned in the early 11th century. Researchers have tried to look beyond simple catastrophism to the many complexities and regional characteristics that could explain the collapse of the Maya civilization. This collapse meant the end of the political and economic system and the abandonment of the cities in the southern lowlands. The cities in the northern lowlands were also abandoned 150 years later. The Maya civilization never recovered, at least not in the form it was once known. However, the descendants of Maya nobles, priests, warriors, and farmers still live on the same lands as their ancestors today, preserving their culture through the indigenous languages they continue to speak and the religious rituals they still perform. Ancestral farming practices and traditional clothing and jewelry styles have not been forgotten. Although the collapse of the Maya may appear to mark the end of the Maya civilization, Maya culture continues to evolve.